When people recognize and care about your name, what you're working on, what you offer and what you stand for, and then also maybe what you're wearing, is it safe to say you're a personal brand? This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight we discuss personal brands and how to build one. Joining us, Bradley Maseko, founder of Branded Youth, and Joggie Interview, director of Dragonfly Creative Marketing Studios. The personal brand. Is it appearing in GQ magazine dressed like Bradley? Is that personal branding, or is it a little bit deeper than that, Joggie?
No, branding is much deeper. You get personal imagery.
And he's got a personal image. He's got the GQ personal image down pat.
Yes, but then personal branding is how people perceive you.
That's hard.
Yes, but that is very important. And
is that something you create, or is it something they create?
No, you have to take control of it. If you don't take control of your personal brand, somebody else is going to. People will do search engine searches for you, and they will find somebody else wrote something not flattery about you, and that becomes part of your brand. So you've got to take control of your brand. You've got to make sure that what is said and what is out there portrays what you are.
Or what you want to be perceived as.
Yes.
Because sometimes we don't like what we are, but we want to change people's perceptions of ourselves. So this is quite Machiavellian then. The creation of a personal brand is about control of how people see us. We want to be controlling that. That's quite dark.
No, it's not dark. It's definitely not.
If Adolf Hitler had a personal branding specialist, he may have come off better in the history books.
Yes, and he might have... history might have turned out completely differently. Okay. So yes,
we look at it, Brad. I mean, you've got a very specific image. Okay, there you are. You want to be cool. You're wearing a nice crisp white shirt. You've got a nice smart jacket on. People can't see your jeans, but I'm sure they cost a lot of money. That's one aspect of the brand, Bradley, that you portray. From the creation and the management of your own brand, how do you do it best?
Okay, I think first and foremost what we need to do is we need to differentiate between personal image and personal branding. So personal image is the physical aspect where you look at the haircut, how you do your hair, how you dress up, and perhaps how you present yourself, how you speak. And then as he said earlier on, personal branding is now how people perceive you. So personal branding is now your promise. What you're promising to deliver to the people. This is who I am. This is what I am. This is what I'm offering. This is how I set myself apart from everyone else in the market. So when I look at myself, for example, my email signature is Youth Marketing Strategist. Okay, so you understand that as the founder of Branded Youth, there are so many CEOs in the world. So if I sent my email signature out and I said, oh, a CEO of Branded Youth, everyone's just going to say, oh, okay, well, that's another CEO, okay, but what is he offering? But now when you focus on my email signature, what you see is Youth Market Strategist. You realize that this is a youth guy who's focusing on the youth market and he's focusing on strategy. That's how I brand myself.
That's how you brand yourself, but you can't control what other people say about you. I'll take probably one of the greatest business brands in the world for much of the last 20 years, and I'm going to talk about Richard Branson, who is a brands genius in terms of the creation of the Virgin Group, the different brands under the Virgin Group. He is perceived to be something of a genius when it comes to business. Yes, he's dyslexic and he's had his issues over time, but here is a guy who people try to tear him down. But somehow the brand Branson remains dominant. Is he a good example of somebody who manages his personal brand effectively?
I believe, yes, he is, but he also has a team of people that look after his brand.
And not all of us have that?
No.
Okay. So how does an individual manage their brand best?
Right. Well, you've got to start off with realizing that whatever you tweet, whatever you write today is as if you're going to put it on a big billboard in big lights. So if you are tweeting anything to anybody, even in a private capacity, you must realize at some stage that is going to be displayed.
It can be used as evidence against you in the court of public opinion.
Yes, and not that, but you also not retweet comments which may be derogatory.
I do like the fact on Twitter where people say, retweets are not endorsements. Well, if they're not endorsements, what are they? You're retweeting it because you share an opinion, or maybe you're so appalled by an opinion that you're retweeting it to get some traction on it. But people don't understand the impact of the moment. You walk into a meeting dressed in a slovenly way. You haven't cleaned your shoes, you haven't brushed your teeth, you haven't, whatever it is. People, that first impression makes a lasting impression, and that is one of the old-fashioned rules.
Yes, but that is when you're in a one-to-one situation. For instance, when you are now applying for a position today in South Africa, a large percentage of HR will go and search for you on your social media, and that will have an impact. There are countries where this is not allowed. They may not have impact on it, but in South Africa definitely they are looking at this and saying there's a photo of this guy falling over his legs, he's inebriated, he's not the kind of person that we want in our country.
You found them, did you?
Found the
You found the pictures of me falling over and falling over.
No, but a good example, for instance, your tweets, everyone you tweet is nearly 6 times retweeted. So you're doing something right. And for that,
oh, get a thumbs up. Okay, oh, look at that. Okay, so can I have that one? Okay, I'll take that. Okay, I get a thumbs up. But I get a sense that with every
that's to be liked.
With every that, there's one of those as well.
No,
so, none one of those.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
Very
work hard.
You know what they say, Bruce? It takes a lifetime to build a brand, and in 5 minutes you can destroy your brand.
You look, for example, there's been this big case in the NBA in the United States recently, a big football owner who made a racist comment, and his life is over.
Okay. What he had to say was literally a racist comment, and it had to be recorded. And he's a billionaire. He's got a basketball team, and now he's lost his basketball team, and now his name has been
His toast.
His toast.
Who is the world's greatest personal brand strategist? Who has cultivated a brand for themselves that you look at and you say, if we could all do what this individual does, we'd be more successful?
I'd vote for Madonna.
Same here.
Madonna,
Yeah.
I mean, Material Girl, she came out, she was a slutty little singer of the 1980s.
Your words.
Absolutely, but that was an image and a brand. She was a rebel of the time,
Yes.
funky hair, lots of leather, but she cultivated a particular image. Yet she is, 30 years later, she's still on the top of her game.
She understands marketing, and she understands how to reinvent herself. So you're looking at the 1980s. She's been around, like I think now she's around about 55, 56.
Yeah.
But if you look at 2013, she had one of the highest grossing tours. It's something like over 76 million. You need to understand that what she's done over the decades is she's reinvented herself continuously, and she's made herself relevant to each and every generation continuously. So you cannot ignore Madonna the same way you cannot ignore Michael Jordan with the Air Jordans. Like, those are brands that existed in the 80s but are now relevant in 2012, 2013 and 2014.
So many people, when they're making their way in the world, and especially when they go for that first interview, they go and buy themselves their first suit, whatever the case is, and they make that first impression and they think they've cracked it. They then go through their daily lives and they do their business and they develop a reputation, and that's all well and good. But at some point, all of us run the risk of becoming irrelevant. Madonna is a case study in maintaining relevance. Is relevance and personal brand, those have got to be going neck and neck.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay. So how
think so.
then do we Madonnify ourselves?
Well, firstly, you've got to start when you're very young.
What happens if we didn't bother?
Then down the line, you're going to have trouble.
Okay.
So for the young ones today that are out there, and you've got a percentage viewing you, around about 11%, under 19, they must be careful of what they tweet and what they do on their Facebook, because they are starting their brand already at this early age. And by the time they finish their studies, university, they have grown that brand for themselves. They are their own PR.
Absolutely.
And if they don't do correctly, and they don't start off correctly, it might be fun now to write all kinds of things which might sound hip, but those things in the past, if I wrote a letter, it would disappear and it would fall in the dustbin. Today, anything that is written is saved, and it's saved for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and it's there in perpetuity, and it is there for people to judge. When you find young people, Bradley, and you look at young people and you look at the issue of branding and marketing yourself, do young people get it? Because our lives are so much more public now than they were even 2 or 3 years ago, pre the massive takeoff in Twitter, for example.
Obviously, the rise and the change in social technology has changed a whole lot of things. And so you get the professional aspect, and then you get the social aspect. And you get like social networking sites like Twitter and Facebook, and then you get your professional networking sites like LinkedIn. And what you need to understand is that when you are branding yourself, you need to be consistent.
What is the difference between creating a personal brand that is attractive to in public life, in private life, all of these sorts of things, versus relentless self-promotion? Because some of the most annoying people in this town, the home of relentless self-promotion, are just blimmin' irritating. They're thinking they're creating great personal brands, but they're just being annoying.
Well, one thing, or quite a few things, personal branding won't do. It won't cover up your incompetence, ever, right? If you're incompetent, you stay incompetent. If you're a certain type, you will stay that type. Personal branding cannot make you famous. That's a given. And then having a brand is not a goal in itself. You want to work for a specific company, so what you need to do is you start following them in Twitter and whatever, and they will, for instance, announce positions through Twitter to see if people are following them, if they have a special requirement in that field. And then people can respond to it, and you can then build up information about the company and then eventually go and work for them. But yes, you've got to be very careful. You cannot change what you are if it's not you. You can't be untruthful to yourself.
Yeah, and ultimately, brands are about honesty. I mean, corporate brands,
Exactly.
product brands,
Yes.
personal brands are about honesty. You are what you are. You can try and change it, you can try and manage it and alter it, but if you defy the if you betray that loyalty, your brand is undermined.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately
Just to equate to what you just said, it's the same thing that happened with Coca-Cola in the 80s. When they decided to change Coca-Cola and they reintroduced the new Coke,
Yes.
that backfired on them.
Huge.
You understand? Because what people were buying into was the original Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And then years later they had to reintroduce the classic Coca-Cola, which people had been accustomed to.
Corporates can get over it, though. Can individuals get over brand blunders?
I think it's more difficult for individuals.
Yes, it is. Branding always works. Okay, it's either going to work for you or against you, but it is going to work. So you've got to be very careful. Just remember that saying: if you don't want it on a billboard, don't tweet it, don't write it.
There we go. At that point, we will leave
Personal
it.
branding requires consistency.
There we go. And honesty and integrity. Don't mess it up. That was Bradley Maseko, founder of Branded Youth, and Joggie Interview. What have you got under the desk?
Right, let me show you. This is specifically for you.
I'm a little bit afraid. Okay, he's going to disappear on the desk, and there we go. Oh my goodness me, hashtag me. There we go. Joggie Interview is the director of Dragonfly Creative Marketing Studios. He creates fake ice creams. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. Until then, have a very good evening and enjoy your personal branding experience. Good night.
Thank you very much.